In the quiet sky above an ancient battlefield, a dragon breathes his final flame. His scales, once brighter than sunlight, are cracked and fading, his wings too heavy to lift again. Around him lie the remnants of a war that lasted centuries. Gods, demons, heroes, all gone. Only one remains. His name was Harkrul, the last of the dragons. For as long as he lived, he fought to protect the world, and the humans who feared him most. Now, as his body turns to dust and his vision dims, he looks at the sky one last time and whispers, almost amused, "So this is how it ends." But endings, as it turns out, are just the beginning of something else. The next thing he feels isn't death, it's warmth. Soft air. A heartbeat. When he opens his eyes again, he's no longer a dragon. He's human. The world is brighter, smaller, and strangely alive in ways he never noticed before. He can feel the wind on his face, the grass under his feet. His body is fragile, but his senses sharper than ever. He laughs softly, the sound unfamiliar in this new throat. So this is life after dragons. The name he's given is Dolan. A simple man in a quiet countryside, reborn with memories of a world long gone. He takes shelter in a small village, working as a hunter, living among people who have no idea who or what he once was. The days pass peacefully. The humans smile easily, unaware that the man helping them fix fences and carry grain once carried entire mountains on his back. Dolan doesn't mind. For the first time in all his lifetimes, he's learning what it means to live, not to fight. Yet there are moments, fleeting, almost dreamlike, when the world reminds him of what he lost. The way the wind moves through the trees feels like the flight he can no longer take. The warmth of firelight reminds him of his own flame, once bright enough to rival the stars. Still, he smiles, letting the memory fade. Life, he decides, is meant to move forward. But peace is a way of cracking just when it feels safe. One night, while walking through the woods, he senses it. The faint tremor in the earth, the whisper of power buried deep below. Old energy. Familiar. A relic of the age he thought he left behind. The feeling pulls him toward an ancient ruin hidden beneath the roots of the forest. The stones glow faintly with magic older than language itself. When he touches one, his body reacts, the air around him trembles, and for an instant, the faint echo of a dragon's roar shakes the sky. He steps back, breath unsteady. "So, you're still here," he murmurs. Somewhere deep inside the ruins, a pulse answers him, slow, alive, and waiting. The past he thought was gone is stirring again. Dolan looks toward the forest's edge, where the stars shimmer like scales across the night sky. The warmth of his quiet life lingers behind him, but he knows what this means. The age of dragons might have ended, but something ancient has just begun to wake. Morning settles gently over the village, painting the rooftops in gold. Birds sing above the fields, and the wind carries the smell of fresh bread and wet earth. For most people, it's an ordinary day. For Dolan, once the mighty dragon Harkrul, it's something extraordinary. A day where nothing threatens to burn, break, or end. He wakes early, as always, helping the farmers haul sacks of grain to the mill. His hands, though human, move with the precision of someone who has lived 100 lives. The villagers like him, quiet, kind, always ready to lend a hand. To them, he's just a humble hunter who prefers silence to stories. But behind his calm smile lies the memory of wings that once stretched across the sky. At night, when the village sleeps, Dolan sits outside beneath the stars. He studies them, searching for constellations that no longer exist, names erased when dragons vanished from the world. He's content in his solitude, yet the echo of something ancient still hums in his bones. And lately that hum is getting louder. One morning, as he walks toward the forest, he hears shouting. Near the edge of the woods, a group of travelers are surrounded. Rough men in ragged armor, blades gleaming in the sunlight. Bandits. Dolan watches for a moment, his instincts calm, his mind calculating. He doesn't want to interfere. Not anymore. The world has enough heroes. But when he sees one of the travelers, a young woman with silver hair, standing firm even as the men close in, something inside him stirs. She reminds him of someone, or perhaps something. Before he can think twice, he steps forward. The bandits barely notice him until he's too close. He doesn't draw a weapon. He doesn't need to. The air around him shifts, a subtle pressure, ancient and heavy. One man swings his sword. Dolan catches it with one hand. The metal bends like soft clay. For a heartbeat, no one moves. Then his eyes flicker, not gold, not human, and the world remembers, just for an instant, what a dragon's gaze feels like. The bandits scatter, leaving their weapons behind. The woman watches him quietly, her silver eyes full of shock and curiosity. "That wasn't normal," she says softly. Dolan smiles, pretending not to hear. "You should be more careful," he replies. "These woods aren't kind to strangers." She hesitates, then bows slightly. "My name is Selena. I owe you my life." They walk back, toward the village together. She tells him she's a healer from the northern lands, searching for rare herbs rumored to grow near the old ruins. Dolan listens, though the mention of the ruins makes his heart tighten. He knows that place, or rather, he knew what it once was when dragons still ruled. He says nothing, but his thoughts linger there long after they part ways. That night, the hum beneath his skin returns, louder now, resonating with something beyond his understanding. When he closes his eyes, he hears it, the faint echo of wings beating somewhere deep below the earth, as if the past itself is stirring. And then, through the silence, a voice, deep, ancient, unmistakably draconic, whispers his name. Harkrul. He opens his eyes. The wind has stopped. The forest is utterly still. Somewhere beneath the soil and stone, something old has awakened, and it remembers him. The days in the village pass with a peaceful rhythm, sunlight spilling over fields, the hum of insects in tall grass, and the faint ring of tools against stone. For Dolan, this simple life feels like a gentle dream he doesn't want to wake from. Yet lately, that peace carries a strange tension beneath it, like the still air before a storm. Since meeting Selena, the healer with silver hair, something inside him has begun to shift. She visits often now, asking for help gathering herbs or carrying supplies, though both of them know it's not the herbs she's after. It's the curiosity in her eyes, the quiet sense that she knows he's more than what he pretends to be. One afternoon, as they walk along the forest's edge, she finally asks, "Dolan, who are you really?" He pauses, watching the sunlight dance between leaves. For a long time, he says nothing. Then, softly, just someone trying to live without breaking things anymore. Selena studies him, half smiling. "That's a strange way to live." He chuckles under his breath. "It's the only way left for me." The words fade between them like smoke. That evening, while Selena brews medicine in her small cabin, the air shifts again, heavier, colder. Outside, the forest seems to hold its breath. Dolan feels it instantly, the way a creature of instinct senses danger before the mind understands it. He steps out into the night. The moonlight flickers through the branches, and somewhere deeper in the woods, he hears it, a sound he hasn't heard in centuries. The low growl of something not human. When he reaches the clearing, he finds tracks wide, deep clawed. Not the mark of any beast this world should still hold. He kneels, brushing his fingers over the prints. The earth hums faintly, and he feels it again, the same energy that pulsed from the ruins days ago. It's spreading. Something has awakened, and it's moving closer. Before dawn, he returns to the village. Selena meets him at the gate, worry etched across her face. "The forest," she says, "it's been strange lately. The animals are fleeing north." Dolan nods. "Stay inside tonight." She starts to protest, but his tone leaves no room for argument. There's a weight to his voice now, something old, something that doesn't belong to this quiet life. As darkness falls, the village settles into uneasy silence. Dolan stands at the outskirts, watching the tree line. The stars are hidden behind clouds. The air feels thick, like it's holding too many secrets. And then, through the mist, a shape emerges, massive, four-legged, its skin rippling with dark energy. Its eyes glow faintly red, filled with a hunger that isn't entirely animal. Dolan exhales slowly, the sound almost like a sigh. "So it begins," he murmurs. His hand closes around the hilt of the hunting knife at his waist, not a dragon's weapon, not nearly enough. But as the creature steps into the light, its breath steaming, Dolan's own eyes flicker gold for just a heartbeat. The man and the monster stare at each other, two remnants of an age the world has tried to forget. The quiet life he built is about to crack. And the dragon he buried inside himself is stirring once again. The night feels heavier than usual. Clouds swallow the moonlight and the wind carries a faint, trembling sound through the trees, something between a growl and a whisper. Dolan stands at the edge of the forest, his body still, his senses sharp. The beast he saw before, it wasn't supposed to exist anymore. Not in this world. Not after the dragons vanished. Yet here it is, breathing in the dark as if summoned by the echoes of an age long gone. He exhales, feeling that old, familiar power stir deep within him, the part of himself he's tried so hard to bury. The air trembles slightly, as if the world recognizes him again. When the creature lunges, everything slows. Dolan moves with effortless precision, every motion calm, almost graceful. His knife flashes, but it's not the blade that stops the beast, it's the pressure around him, the unseen force that bends the air and shakes the ground. The monster hesitates, its red eyes wide with something close to fear. For an instant, its form flickers, scales, wings, fire, a shadow of draconic origin. Dolan freezes. He knows what this is. Not just a beast, a fragment. A remnant of his kind. The realization hits him harder than the battle itself. The dragons might be gone, but their echoes remain, twisted and broken. By the time the first rays of dawn spill over the horizon, the creature is gone, leaving only scorched earth and silence. Dolan stands in the clearing, exhausted. Selena finds him there, her cloak pulled tight against the chill. She looks at the burn marks, the clawed soil, then at him. "What happened here?" she whispers. He hesitates. Something old, something that shouldn't be. Her gaze lingers on him, not afraid, just quietly understanding. "You knew it, didn't you?" she asks. He doesn't answer. Instead, he turns to watch the sunrise, its light spilling through the fog like a promise he doesn't believe in. Days pass. The village tries to move on, pretending the night's terror was just a bad dream. But Dolan feels it, that pulse beneath the ground, slow and steady, calling to him. He begins to notice strange things, the forest growing unnaturally quiet, small tremors underfoot, whispers in languages no human remembers. It's as if the world itself is waiting for something to wake. Selena visits him again, this time with an old map, a relic from the northern libraries. She lays it on his table, pointing to a mountain marked with faded ink. "They called it the Dragon's Rest," she says. "Lately, travelers who pass near it hear roaring low, like thunder. I think it's connected." Dolan traces the mark with his finger, silent for a long time. "If that's true," he says softly, "then the world's about to remember what it tried to forget." He packs lightly, just enough food for a few days, a cloak, and a knife that no longer feels like enough. Selena insists on coming. "You'll need someone who can patch you up," she says with a faint smile. He doesn't argue. Together, they leave the safety of the village, stepping into a forest that no longer feels like the same one he's walked 100 times before. The air hums faintly, a resonance only he seems to notice. As they disappear into the trees, the camera would linger on the village behind them, quiet, warm, peaceful. Then, slowly, the ground beneath it trembles once more, ever so slightly. Something deep below the surface stirs, stretching after a long, long sleep. The age of dragons isn't over. It's just beginning to breathe again. The journey north begins beneath skies the color of steel. Dolan and Selena walk through endless stretches of forest and stone, the path winding through mist and memory. It's quiet, too quiet. Even the birds have stopped singing. The world feels like it's holding its breath, waiting for something to arrive. Dolan doesn't say much, but his eyes move constantly, watching every tree, every shadow. Selena notices. "You're listening for something," she says. "Always." He nods. "When you've lived as long as I have, silence starts to sound like danger." She laughs softly, unsure whether he's joking. At night, they make camp beside a river. The water glows faintly under the moonlight, like liquid silver. Selena hums an old lullaby while grinding herbs, and for a moment, the world feels gentle again. Dolan leans back against a tree, half listening, half lost in thought. He remembers the last time he walked this far north, not as a man, but as a dragon. Back then, the mountains glowed with veins of fire, and the sky trembled when his wings cut through it. Now, all that's left is stillness, and an ache that never really faded. The next morning, they reach the base of the mountain marked on Selena's map, the Dragon's Rest. From afar, it looks like an ordinary peak, but up close, the air changes. It's thick, charged with an ancient pulse that seeps into their bones. The rocks are etched with faint runes, long eroded by time. "These markings," Selena murmurs, brushing her fingers across the surface, "they're older than any record I've seen." Dolan touches the same stone and feels warmth, faint, but alive. "They're not markings," he says quietly. "They're scales." She looks at him, startled. But before she can ask, the ground trembles beneath their feet. From deep within the mountain, a low sound rises, not quite a roar, not quite thunder. Dolan steadies himself, eyes narrowing. He knows that sound. It's a dragon's call, but twisted, raw, distorted by centuries of sleep and decay. Selena clutches her staff. "Is it alive?" she whispers. Dolan hesitates. "Something is." The air grows warmer, and a red light flickers from the cracks in the stone, pulsing like a heartbeat. They retreat into a nearby cave as the tremor intensifies. Inside, the walls glisten with crystals that hum softly, reacting to the energy outside. Selena kneels, studying them. "They resonate with magic," she says, amazed. "It's beautiful." Dolan watches the crystals shimmer, his reflection fractured in their glow. "Beauty," he says softly, "was always the most dangerous thing dragons ever created." His words hang in the air, half warning, half confession. As night falls, the mountain quiets again. The red glow fades, leaving only silence. Dolan and Selena sit by the cave entrance, watching the stars reappear through the thin veil of clouds. She looks at him, her expression softer now. "You knew this place before, didn't you?" He doesn't deny it. "I knew what it was meant to be. A tomb, for something that shouldn't have been forgotten." Selena's voice drops. "And if it's waking up?" Dolan stares into the darkness below. "Then we'll find out soon enough." The camera would linger there, the two of them framed against the vast, ancient mountain, stars glittering faintly above. In the distance, a single sound breaks the stillness, the faint crack of stone shifting from within. Something buried deep under Dragon's Rest is stirring once more, and this time, it isn't calling for mercy. Morning creeps over the horizon, brushing the mountains with pale gold. The wind that flows down from Dragon's Rest feels strange now, warm, heavy, almost alive. Dolan wakes before sunrise, the air around him humming faintly, as if the earth itself is whispering. Selena is still asleep beside the fire, her hand resting on the map they studied the night before. For a while, he just watches the flames flicker, thinking about the night's tremors and that deep, distant sound that had come from within the mountain. It wasn't imagination. He knows that now. Something ancient has begun to stir, and every instinct in his body, the human and the dragon both, tells him that it's calling to him. When Selena wakes, she senses it too. The cave feels smaller than before, as if the walls themselves are breathing. She looks to Dolan. It's changing again, isn't it? He nods. The mountain's heartbeat is stronger. She frowns. Mountains don't have heartbeats. Dolan smiles faintly. They do when dragons sleep beneath them. His voice is calm, but there's something in his tone, a quiet sorrow, like a man remembering a friend he buried long ago. They pack their things and start climbing. The air grows thinner, the path narrower. Strange symbols appear on the rocks, faint, glowing slightly under the morning light. Selena studies them as they walk, muttering to herself. These aren't human letters, they're older. Maybe even pre-dragonic. Dolan runs a hand over one and whispers, "No. They're ours." His fingertips leave a faint shimmer in the air, and for a heartbeat, the symbols flare brighter, alive again. The mountain responds. Halfway up the slope, the ground trembles again, stronger this time. Dust rains down, stones crack, and a sharp cry echoes from somewhere deep below. Not a roar, not a scream, something in between, like the pain of waking from a centuries-long sleep. Selena grips Dolan's arm. "What is that?" He doesn't answer. Instead, he closes his eyes, listening. Beneath the rumble, he hears it, a voice. Ancient, faint, but unmistakable. Harkrul, it whispers his true name, the one he's hidden for so long. His breath catches in his chest. It shouldn't be possible. As they reach a ridge overlooking the valley, the world opens before them, endless green forests, rivers coiling like veins of silver, and far in the distance, the ruins of what was once a great city. Selena gasps softly. "It's beautiful." Dolan's gaze lingers on the horizon. "It was," he says quietly, "before the fire." She looks at him, realizing for the first time just how old his eyes are, too old for the face he wears. The peace lasts only a moment. A gust of wind sweeps through the pass, sharp and wrong. The smell of smoke follows, faint but familiar. Dolan stiffens. Below them, in the valley, dark shapes move through the trees, massive, armored, shifting with unnatural rhythm. Not human soldiers. Something else. Selena notices them too. They're heading toward the village. Her voice trembles. Dolan's joy tightens. Then we're out of time. He turns away from the mountain, his expression calm but resolute. For years he's tried to live quietly, to forget what he once was. But as the ground shakes again, and the air fills with that same draconic hum, he understands what the world is asking of him. He can no longer just watch. Selena places a hand on his shoulder. "If you go back there, they'll see you for what you are." Dolan looks at her, a faint, tired smile on his lips. Then maybe it's time they remembered what that means. The scene would fade on that moment, the two figures framed against the burning horizon, wind curling around them like smoke. Far below, the first plumes of fire rise from the forest, and the sound of distant wings, not from Dolan, but from something else entirely, rolls across the valley. The Age of Dragons is awakening, and this time, it's not coming quietly. The air is thick with the scent of ash. From the ridge above, Dolan and Selena watch the valley burn, smoke curling like dark ribbons toward the clouds. The creatures that emerged from the forest move with purpose, their bodies shaped from metal and flame, remnants of an age that should have died with the dragons. Dolan recognizes them immediately. They were once guardians, ancient constructs built to protect the world's balance. But something has changed. Their purpose has been twisted. Now they hunt. He stands silently, eyes reflecting the firelight. Selena can see it, that quiet, storm-like calm that settles over him whenever the world begins to break. "You knew this could happen," she says softly. Dolan nods. Every buried thing eventually remembers it's still alive. She glances at the horizon, her voice trembling. "Then what do we do?" He looks down at his hands, human, fragile, trembling slightly. "We try," he says. "Even if the past doesn't want to be forgotten." They descend the mountain quickly, the path lit by the glow of burning trees. The closer they get, the stronger the humming in the air becomes. It's not just the fire, it's something beneath it. Power. Ancient, familiar. Dolan can feel it vibrating through the ground like a heartbeat out of rhythm. By the time they reach the edge of the village, the destruction has already begun. Houses are in flames. The air shimmers with heat and fear. People run, shouting names, trying to save what little they can. Dolan steps forward, the firelight painting his face in gold and red. For a moment, he hesitates. To act now means revealing what he truly is, and once that line is crossed, there's no going back. Selena touches his arm, her eyes steady. "They'll die if you do nothing," she says quietly. He exhales. "Then let them see." The ground shakes as he raises his hand. The fire around them bends, curling toward him like smoke caught in a storm. The creatures pause mid-step, their glowing eyes turning to him in unison. The air ripples. And then, in an instant, the illusion of his humanity falls away. His shadow stretches, long, scaled, winged. The sound that follows isn't human. It's low, ancient, the kind of sound that makes the bones remember fear. The villagers stop running. Every head turns toward the light. Above them, the silhouette of a dragon looms in the smoke, vast and impossible, wings spread wide against the burning sky. But this isn't Harkrul, the destroyer. This is Dolan, calm, controlled, holding back the storm inside him. With a single movement, he commands the fire itself to recede, and it obeys. The roaring dies down. The air cools. The constructs freeze in place, confused by what they see. Dolan steps forward, eyes glowing faintly gold. "You've forgotten your masters," he murmurs. "Let me remind you." The earth splits beneath his feet. Light erupts from the cracks, searing and pure. The constructs shatter one by one, collapsing into heaps of molten metal. When the last one falls, silence returns. Only the wind moves now, whispering through the ruins. The villagers stare, wide-eyed, unable to speak. Dolan lowers his hand slowly, his expression unreadable. Selena watches him, proud, but worried. She knows what this means. The secret is gone. The dragon has returned. And then, in the fading light, something shifts in the distance. A new sound rises from the far end of the valley, deeper, heavier, filled with fury. It's another roar. But this one isn't his. Dolan's eyes narrow. So, he whispers, "I'm not the only one who woke up." The flames flicker once more, casting his shadow across the ground, part man, part dragon, standing between two worlds that are no longer separate. The sky is dark long before night falls, clouds swirling like smoke as Dolan and Selena stand at the edge of the crater. The air itself feels wrong, too hot, too alive, pulsing like a wounded heart. Below them, the blackened dragon shifts, its movements unnatural, mechanical, as though something unseen is forcing its body to move. Steam rises from the cracks in its scales, glowing faintly red from within. Dolan watches in silence, his golden eyes reflecting the faint light. "That's no dragon," he murmurs. "It's a corpse with a will." Selena grips her staff tighter, her voice barely steady. "Who would do something like this?" Dolan doesn't answer. He knows. There were humans, long ago, who sought power greater than gods themselves. They believed dragons could be controlled, even after death. Most of them were destroyed, or so he thought. The corrupted creature below opens its jaws, releasing a low, distorted sound that shakes the ground beneath their feet. It isn't a roar. It's pain, drawn out and endless. The wind howls through the crater, carrying the smell of sulfur and iron. Dolan steps forward, his cloak whipping behind him. "Stay here," he says quietly. Selena catches his wrist. "If you fight it, you'll die." He looks at her with a faint smile. "I already did, once." Then he leaps down into the crater, landing in a cloud of dust and heat. The air crackles as the corrupted dragon turns its head toward him, eyes hollow but glowing faintly with red fire. Dolan feels his old instincts ignite. His breath slows. His pulse steadies. Beneath his human skin, something ancient begins to stir. The wind bends around him. Sparks flicker from the ground. The dragon lunges, faster than something that size should move. Dolan raises his arm, and the force that leaves his hand isn't magic, it's memory. The impact tears through the air like thunder, sending molten stone into the sky. The two forces clash, one born of life, the other of ruin. Selena watches from above, shielding her face as the shockwave flattens the trees. For a brief second, the entire crater glows, and within that light, two shadows twist and collide, the dragon he was and the monster he refuses to become. When the fire clears, Dolan stands in the center of the crater, his clothes burned, his eyes blazing with golden light. The creature is still, its body cracked and smoking. But before he can breathe, a voice echoes through the hollow air. Not from the corpse before him, but from somewhere deeper, below the earth. Harkroll, it whispers, the same voice that called to him before. You've finally come home. Dolan's expression hardens. He looks toward the cracks splitting the earth, where faint light pulses like veins under skin. The voice continues, calm, cold, and familiar. You cannot stop what's already begun. The ground shakes violently, and for a moment, Dolan swears he hears wings vast, endless, rising from below the world. Selena shouts his name from the ridge as the light grows brighter. He turns toward her, eyes fierce but calm. Run, he says, his voice low and final. Then, as the mountain itself starts to break apart, the light swallows everything. The rain hisses against molten rock as Dolan stands in the wreckage, staring up at the golden dragon that has risen from beneath the earth. The creature's wings stretch wide enough to blot out the dawn, each beat sending ripples through the clouds. Heat rolls off its scales, shimmering like sunlight reflected on water. Selena hides behind a fallen boulder, shielding her face from the wind as Dolan takes a step forward. His human form looks impossibly small against the glowing titan before him, but his voice is steady. You shouldn't be here, he says quietly. The dragon's eyes narrow, twin suns burning with judgment. You should not be alive, it replies, the voice echoing directly in his mind. Dolan exhales, his breath trembling slightly. That makes two of us. The air vibrates with energy, the kind that makes the world hold still. Every tree, every stone, every breath of wind seems to wait. Selena watches, unable to move, as the two beings face each other, one born of fire, one hiding from it. Dolan lowers his head slightly. I buried our kind to save the world we destroyed, he says. Don't make me undo that. The dragon tilts its head, curious, almost amused. Save it? You call this saving? Its voice shakes the air. You turned your back on what we were. Flames gather in its throat, gold and white, brighter than the sun. And what were we? Dolan answers, his voice breaking the silence. Kings? Gods? No. We were children playing with creation until it burned. The light within the dragon's mouth flickers uncertainly, and for a moment, the great beast hesitates. Then the ground cracks open beneath them. Rivers of fire pour from the fissures, coiling around Dolan like serpents. Selena cries out his name, but he doesn't move. The flames don't touch him. They bend, swirling upward as his eyes ignite with gold. His human skin begins to fracture, light spilling through the cracks like molten veins. When he speaks again, his voice carries the echo of the skies. I am not what I was, he says. But I remember. The wind howls. The clouds split. And in the next heartbeat, the man is gone, replaced by something vast and ancient, wings unfolding, scales shimmering like obsidian glass under firelight. The golden dragon roars in recognition, and the sound that follows is no longer of words, but of memory itself, two remnants of a vanished age, meeting once again in a world too small to hold them. The shockwave that follows turns the rain into steam, and the earth into light. Selena can only stare through the haze, tears mixing with ash as she watches two gods collide, knowing that when the smoke clears, nothing will ever be the same again. The clash of dragons tears the sky apart. Thunder rolls where there should be silence, and the air burns with gold and shadow. Dolan Harkroll rises through the storm, his wings cutting through the wind like blades of black glass. Across from him, the golden dragon hovers, radiant and merciless, each beat of its wings sending shockwaves that shatter clouds into flame. Their roars echo across the valley, ancient voices that once shaped the world now calling it to witness again. Below them, Selena shields her eyes from the brilliance, her heart pounding as two living myths collide. The sky glows brighter than dawn, and for a moment, she forgets to breathe. Dolan dives first, the force of his descent splitting the air. The golden dragon meets him head-on, light and shadow entwining in a blinding flash. The ground trembles beneath them, the trees bending like blades of grass under the storm. It's not a battle of strength but of memory, two remnants of a vanished age, carrying the weight of what was lost. Dolan's thoughts burn with every strike. He remembers the faces of his kin, their wings filling the heavens, their voices rising in songs now long forgotten. He remembers the day they fell, the day he chose to end it all. And he remembers the silence that followed, the centuries of solitude, the taste of regret that never faded. Now, facing what remains of his first brother, he feels the ache of history pressing against his bones. "I didn't destroy us," he growls through clenched teeth. "You did, when you forgot why we were born." The golden dragon answers not with words, but with flame. A torrent of pure light crashes down, engulfing the sky. Selena watches in horror as the world turns white. When the light fades, Dolan stands amidst smoke and ruin, wings half broken, his breath ragged. But he's still standing. Around him, the valley is gone, transformed into a sea of molten glass that reflects the burning sky. The golden dragon lands before him, massive and silent, its form flickering between flesh and spirit. Its voice reaches him, softer now, almost human. "The age of men was never meant for us," it says. "They forget. They fear. They destroy." Dolan lowers his head, his voice a whisper. "And yet, they build again." For the first time, the golden dragon hesitates. Its eyes, once blazing with judgment, dim with something like sorrow. "Then you have already chosen your side," it says. Dolan closes his eyes. "I chose peace." The golden dragon's wings unfurl one last time, scattering embers across the ruined land. Its body begins to dissolve into light, its final words carried on the wind. "Then may you keep it, brother, for as long as they let you." The light fades into the clouds, leaving only silence behind. Dolan stands alone, his shadow stretching across the broken earth. Selena approaches carefully, her footsteps echoing in the emptiness. "It's over," she says quietly. But he shakes his head. In the distance, the horizon glows faintly red, not from the setting sun, but from something far worse. "No," he murmurs, his gaze fixed on the fire creeping beyond the mountains. "It's just beginning." The fire on the horizon does not fade. It spreads slowly, deliberately, like something alive. Dolan watches it from a ridge above the valley, the wind tugging at his torn cloak, his golden eyes dim with exhaustion. The golden dragon's light has vanished, leaving behind a sky heavy with smoke and silence. Selena stands beside him, her expression a mixture of awe and fear. "What is it?" she asks softly. Dolan doesn't answer right away. The air tastes wrong, thick, metallic, laced with something ancient. He's felt it before, long ago, in the final days of the Dragon War. "It's not just fire," he finally says. "It's a summoning." Selena looks at him confused. "Someone's calling to what's left of us." His words hang in the air, heavy as thunder. Far below, rivers of flame twist across the landscape, drawing strange patterns, circles, and runes, ancient symbols of command. "It's not natural. Someone is doing this on purpose." Dolan's voice hardens. "They're trying to bring the dragons back." They descend from the ridge, following the fire's path until it leads them to the ruins of a fortress buried beneath ash. The air hums faintly, vibrating with energy that makes the ground feel alive. Selena shivers. "It's like the mountain before," she whispers. "But stronger." Dolan nods. "This is no echo. This is intent." They move cautiously through the broken stone halls, their footsteps echoing off the walls. Old banners hang in tatters, embroidered with symbols of both dragon and man, a sign of an era when the two still coexisted. In the center of the ruin, they find it, A circle of molten stone, glowing red and gold, pulsing like a heartbeat. And standing at its edge is a figure cloaked in black, holding a staff carved from the bone of a dragon. His voice carries through the chamber, smooth and reverent. At last, he says, one of the old gods returns. Dolan steps forward, his shadow stretching across the floor. If you think you can control what you call, you've already failed. The man turns, revealing eyes that gleam with unnatural light. Control, he repeats, smiling faintly. No, I only wish to remind the world what it lost. The ground trembles as the circle begins to crack open. Light bursts upward, illuminating the carvings on the walls, depictions of dragons kneeling before humans, humans wielding their bones as weapons. You built your peace on their ashes, the man continues. Now they will rise again to judge you. Selena tries to strike him with a spell, but the magic disperses like smoke. The man's smile widens. Even the air bends to their will. Dolan moves before he can finish. The wind roars, dust spiraling into a vortex around him. You're playing with forces that ended empires, he warns, but the summoner only laughs. Then let them end this one too. The circle erupts. A column of light shoots into the sky, splitting the clouds, and from it emerges a shape colossal, twisted, wings torn and fused with molten stone. It roars, not in fury, but in agony. Selena stumbles back, shielding her face. That's not a dragon, she gasps. Dolan's expression darkens. No, he says quietly. That's what's left when humans try to make one. The heat intensifies, cracking the ground beneath their feet. The creature rises higher, its body pulsing with unstable energy, threatening to tear itself apart. Dolan spreads his wings, the air around him shimmering with ancient power. Get everyone out, he says to Selena, his voice low but firm. She hesitates. You can't fight that alone. He glances back at her, a faint smile flickering across his face. I was alone long before this. Then, without another word, he takes flight, vanishing into the storm of light as the half-born dragon lets out a scream that shakes the heavens. The storm has passed, but the world it leaves behind is unrecognizable. The sky is quiet, painted in shades of ash and silver, and the air hums faintly, as if still remembering the roars that once shook it. Dolan stands at the edge of what used to be a mountain, now nothing more than a plain of glass and light. The false dragon is gone, consumed by its own fire, and the summoner who called it lies buried beneath the ruin he created. For a long while, Dolan doesn't move. His wings, torn and heavy, drag against the wind, their scales dimmed to a dull gray. He breathes slowly, deeply, as though the earth itself might steady him. Selena appears through the mist, limping slightly, her clothes singed, but her eyes alive. You stopped it, she says softly. Dolan shakes his head. No, I ended one mistake. The real threat hasn't even woken yet. She looks up at him, confused, but he doesn't explain. Instead, he turns his gaze to the horizon, where faint tremors ripple through the ground like distant footsteps. Something vast and ancient is stirring, something older than either man or dragon. They walk together through the wasteland, the silence between them filled only by the crunch of cooling stone underfoot. Every few steps, Selena glances at him, searching for something human in the face of the creature beside her. Do you regret it? She finally asks. Dolan's eyes remain fixed ahead. Regret? He pauses. Regret means you think things could have been different. I don't know if they could. The wind carries their words away, scattering them across the scarred land. They reach what used to be a forest, now nothing but blackened stumps reaching like fingers toward the gray sky. There, Dolan stops. His hand touches one of the trees, and for a moment, the bark beneath his palm glows faintly gold, warm, alive. Selena watches as small leaves begin to form again, trembling in the breeze. You can still give life, she whispers. Dolan smiles faintly, though there's no joy in it. That's what scares me. By nightfall, they make camp at the base of an ancient ruin, one older than either of them can name. Stars emerge above, faint but clear, reflected in puddles of molten stone that have cooled to glass. Selena sits by the fire, tracing patterns in the dirt. Do you think they'll ever forgive us? She asks quietly. Dolan doesn't answer. He watches the flames, remembering faces long gone, names that no human tongue has spoken in ages. Forgiveness, he says at last, was never theirs to give. His voice is soft, almost tender, but beneath it lies something else, resolve, quiet and unshakable. He stands, gazing into the dark horizon where the tremors grow stronger, the ground now pulsing faintly with a rhythm like a heartbeat. Far in the distance, a red light blooms beneath the surface slowly, steadily, spreading like veins across the earth. Selena follows his gaze. Is it them? She asks. Dolan nods. The first dragons were not the last. The world remembers us, and now it's calling the rest. His wings unfold, dark and glistening in the firelight. If they wake, this time they won't find gods or kings. He looks back at her, eyes soft but tired. They'll find me. The wind rises, carrying embers into the sky, and for the first time in centuries, Dolan spreads his wings fully, their edges catching the starlight. The ground trembles once more, louder now, closer, like the steady approach of something too great to stop. And as the first echoes of thunder roll across the land, the world holds its breath, waiting for the dawn that will decide whether it's reborn or devoured. And that's the end of the summary of this wonderful anime. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, as it helps and motivates me to keep creating more content for you. See you soon.